Hey guys, Drew here with GODZ Manufacturing, talking today about our brand new PowerHouse. This is a full power management system, as you can see here on my truck, which is a 2022 Ram 2500. But this video is going to cover a bit of ins and outs that will eventually spread to all of the different vehicles, whether you drive a GM product, a Ford, or a Ram, and even earlier generation trucks as well. So we'll get right into it here in just a minute. I'll go over everything that this offers and what options you'll have down the road as well. All right, so now that we've talked about what the PowerHouse system is, I want to talk a little bit more about the individual components and what they do and how this all works together as one piece. So starting on the left side of the panel here, the inside of the engine bay, we have our 100 amp circuit breaker. This is a waterproof circuit breaker from Blue Seas. It has an off, which is this position here, and an on. And when it's on, basically what it's doing is it's taking the power here from the battery, sending it through that 4-gauge cable that we provide to you, puts it into this terminal, and then allows it to come through the system here, spit it out this terminal. And then that's going to go through our 4-gauge into our auxiliary fuse block. So this auxiliary fuse block is more or less the best way for you guys to get rid of all of your inline fuses. We all know what those inline fuses look like, and they are helpful and they do work in some instances. However, this is a way to get rid of a lot of clutter and extra wiring that really isn't necessary. So this is giving you 8 positions for ATC or ATO fuses, and you could do up to 30 amps per circuit or 100 amps total. So 8 times 30 is a number that I don't know, but it's more than 100. And what they're basically saying is you can't have more than 100 amps going through this guy at one time, hence our 100 amp circuit breaker. Now I've got 4 positions at 15 amps each controlling auxiliary lights on my bed rack. I've got one for the fridge that I run in the cab, another for a GMRS radio that I run as well. And all of these at one time would pull a maximum of 60 amps, but the reality is I don't really ever have any of those always running. So I could have some additional switches here that might be a higher output as well. These have little ring terminals here on the side, so if I pop off that cover, you can see we've got a lineup of screws, and that's basically our hot leads for any of our accessories. Those are all powered through the fuses, and if we have overloads, subsequently those will pop and you would have to replace them, but you would obviously want to do some inspection to make sure that you don't have other problems elsewhere, like a bad ground. So put that cover back on here quick. That just snaps right into place, keeps some of the dust and moisture out of it, although again, it is a fully waterproof system. Coming over into our next spot, we have our ground. So this is a common ground block, again also capable of 100 amps, but for the majority of stuff that you're doing, you really don't have to worry about those numbers because all the modern lighting on these vehicles is LED, and refrigerators are pretty low draw anymore. So this is just giving you, again, a place to do things nice and neat. So you can see I've got 4 circuits over here, but I only have 3 grounds. That's because one of the circuits in the back of the truck is actually grounded to the body. You can be creative with grounds as long as you have a good ground. That's the most important thing. But again, this is just giving you a way to put everything together nice and neat. You can see that we're also using fully waterproof heat shrunk ring terminals here. We provide these to you in the kit. We send you some that are designed for 10 and 12 gauge wire. We also send you some that are designed for 14 and 16 gauge wire to handle different size accessories. And they're super easy. You strip your wire back, put these on, crimp them in place, and then you just hit them with a lighter or a heat gun, and then they actually glue themselves to the wire, providing you a waterproof connection. And this common ground is located between our auxiliary fuse block and then our terminal block. So this terminal block is actually what is our distribution of power for the upfitter switches that are inside the cab. In my Ram, they come from a plug that's back here. I've extended that wire around the battery and terminated everything here, and I went ahead and put some color-coded heat shrink on here as well, just so I know what I'm looking at. I've got aux 1, aux 2, aux 3, aux 4, and those colors correspond to the colors that are in the switch back there. And then from there, I have my accessories. So these are my LED accessories. Aux 1 is PowerHouse Design's light bar on the front bumper. Aux 2 is some ditch lights. Aux 3 is some chase lights. And then I've got 4 terminated here, but I don't have any accessory hooked up to it at this point in time. That's totally fine. I'll do something in the future with it, I'm sure, but I don't have any plans for it right now. And then I have space for 5 and 6 as well, but because they're on a different plug, I didn't choose to add those in at this point in time because I don't have enough accessories to use them. So if you're running less than 6 accessories, no problem. You can have everything hooked up and ready to go in the future, or you can go ahead and max it out. That way all your switches are ready to go. And that's pretty much the general overview of all of the individual components of this kit itself. How you guys choose to hook up your accessories is really up to you, but this system is going to allow you to do it in the neatest, most professional looking way as possible. And should things go awry in the future, you're going to be able to very quickly diagnose what might be wrong with your electrical system so you can get that fixed and get back out on the trail. So the PowerHouse systems that we offer will come to you guys fully assembled and ready to install into your truck. What I mean by fully assembled is all of this stuff here is going to go ahead and be mounted to the plate that we send to you. That way all you're having to do is actually mount the plate, and that's going to be respective to each vehicle. Here in the Ram, it actually sits right on top of your fuse box, and we provide you rubber bonded sealing washers, and you're actually going to just drill holes into the fuse box cover, and you're going to through bolt everything there with stainless steel hardware, again those rubber sealing washers, and then also some nylon lock nuts. The reason we chose to do it here is because that's a very easily replaceable piece. So should you sell the truck in the future and you want to revert it back to stock, you can just buy that cover and it's not going to cost you more than about 50 bucks or so to do that. Now, as far as the assembly goes, we're going to have the circuit breaker mounted, we'll have the auxiliary fuse blocks mounted, we'll have our ground mounted, we'll have the actual terminal block for the switches mounted as well. What is not going to be connected is going to be all of your 4-gauge wires. So you'll have to connect this here. You'll have to connect your main battery wire as well to both the circuit breaker and the battery. And then you'll have to connect the ground wire to both the actual common ground and then your body ground. And all of that will be pre-measured. It'll be tech flex, the whole 9 yards. It's taken care of for you. But for the safety of everything else in shipping and not having a damaged product arrive to you, we are going to send those wires to you separately. Now, what else is included in that box? We're not going to send you any fuses because what accessories you guys are running is up to you, and that's something that we're not really going to be able to determine. But we are going to provide you guys with these really nice crimping and also waterproof heat shrunk ring terminals that are size specific to both wire and also the size of the screw that you'll be mounting to this. That's pretty much everything that comes in the box for the upfitter switches. Now, should you go with something like our Switch Pro unit, our S-Pod unit, or even possibly a Garmin unit in the future, those might require a little bit more assembly, but we'll probably touch on that here in just a second because that is going to be a little bit different. Everything that I just mentioned now is going to be more specific to your guys' upfitter kits that you would find on the Fords and the Rams like we talked about just a minute ago.